What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? The lights in the conference hall buzzed faintly above, casting a sterile glow across the sea of polished shoes, fitted blazers, and strained smiles. Kate Morgan stood center stage, her mouth dry, her legs trembling, not from nerves, but from something she refused to name. Her voice carried confidently despite the ache crawling up from her calves. This was the moment. This was the night she'd worked toward for the last 3 years. VTech's new exosuit for low-gravity environments was her brainchild, her late nights, her everything. And Elon Musk was somewhere in the audience, hidden behind sunglasses and a poker face, watching silently. Kate tapped the screen beside her and the slide changed, Human Adaptation 2.0, bridging the limits of biology in space. Applause erupted, but her ears were ringing. She swallowed hard, her vision momentarily blurry, heat rising behind her eyes. She blinked once, then again. She forced herself to smile, gripping the remote tighter. Just 2 more minutes. She shifted her weight from one leg to the other, trying to ease the throbbing. Then it happened. A bolt of pain, sharp and paralyzing, shot up her right leg and into her hip. Her knees buckled. She gasped and tried to hide it behind a cough, hoping no one noticed. Another stab, this time in both legs. Her feet twisted against the floor. Her body gave way. And just like that, Kate crumpled to the ground in front of a room full of venture capitalists, scientists, reporters, and Elon Musk himself. Gasps. Shuffling feet. Someone shouted her name. Cameras clicked. Her consciousness flickered like a dying light bulb. As she slipped into darkness, one last thought echoed through her mind, not now. Not this way. She woke in the hospital hours later, fluorescent light piercing her skull. A nurse asked if she knew where she was. Kate nodded weakly, mumbling something about her presentation. The nurse shook her head with a sympathetic smile. You passed out. Pretty hard, too. Your potassium levels are dangerously low. You've had some muscle cramping before. Kate stared at the ceiling, her lips tight. It's nothing, she whispered. Just stress. But it wasn't just stress. And deep down, she knew it. She'd been hiding the cramps for months, pretending the spasms were just fatigue. She stretched obsessively, drank water, downed electrolyte packets, Googled symptoms in the middle of the night. Nothing helped. And still, she pushed. Because that's what you did when you'd worked your whole life to be taken seriously. Especially in a world where the boardroom had always belonged to someone else. She blinked again, trying to focus. The painkillers were kicking in now. The nurse handed her a small paper cup filled with multicolored pills and a glass of water. These'll help. Magnesium. Potassium. B-complex. Your body's screaming for nutrients. Kate nodded. She was too tired to argue. Her phone buzzed on the table beside her. She picked it up with trembling fingers and saw the headlines. Startup founder collapses mid-pitch. Spacesuit breakthrough, or breakdown. Viral video, woman crashes at Elon Musk event. The comments were worse. Is this the future of space tech? Hope they don't faint on Mars. This is why we don't invest in emotion. LOL, she just short-circuited. Her hand clenched around the phone. Her vision swam again, this time from tears. All the work. All the nights she skipped meals and ignored the pain. All the times she stood in front of that mirror and practiced sounding strong. Gone. Dismantled in a 15-second clip shared across the internet. There was a knock at the door. Her co-founder, Michael, stepped in, his face a mix of concern and calculated detachment. Kate. You okay? She nodded numbly. He didn't sit. Elon left after the incident. No comment. We might still salvage something, but VTech's reputation took a hit. Kate looked away. So that's it? Not necessarily. But right now, we need to focus on damage control. Maybe lay low. She felt her chest tighten. Lay low. He hesitated. You might consider stepping down. Temporarily. Her heart cracked in real time. You mean quit? He didn't deny it. Just shrugged. Look, your health is your priority, right? He left before she could respond. She sat there in silence, the distant beeping of machines filling the room like static. Later that night, she lay awake, staring out the hospital window at the LA skyline, distant and glittering. Her legs ached dully beneath the sheets. She couldn't stop thinking about her mother. Strong, stubborn, and eventually taken down by a disease that robbed her of movement, speech, and dignity. Kate had spent her childhood watching her mother's muscles wither while doctors offered little more than guesses and pain management. And now it felt like the past was clawing its way back through her own body. She remembered her mother pressing vitamins into her hand every morning before school. These are your armor, she'd say. You keep fighting. Kate used to laugh. She didn't believe in that kind of thing. Now, she wasn't so sure. That night, before sleep claimed her, Kate typed out a single post on her dormant blog. No headline. Just raw words. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? She stared at the blinking cursor for a long time, then hit post. Somewhere in her heart, a flicker of something sparked. Not quite hope. Not yet. But something close. Tomorrow, she'd have to face the fallout. Tomorrow, she'd have to leave the hospital and figure out what came next. But tonight, in the quiet dark, with her body sore and her future uncertain, Kate Morgan allowed herself to feel the weight of the moment. To grieve what was lost. To listen to the pain. And to imagine, just for a second, that maybe this wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning of something else entirely. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Her name was Kate Morgan. Born in a small town in Ohio most people couldn't point to on a map, she was the kind of kid who asked too many questions, broke every remote to see how the buttons worked, and once dismantled her father's lawnmower just to prove it could be rebuilt better. Her teachers called her curious. Her classmates called her weird. Her mother called her my little engineer, and that was all Kate ever needed. By the time she was 8, Kate could identify every bone in the human body and had memorized the chemical makeup of every vitamin in her mom's pill organizer. Her mom, Sandra, suffered from a rare degenerative neuromuscular condition that slowly stole her ability to walk, then speak, then breathe. Watching that unfold over a decade shaped every cell in Kate's body. She didn't grow up playing house or dreaming of wedding dresses. She grew up watching a strong woman become a prisoner inside her own skin. And from that helplessness bloomed a purpose. Kate didn't want to become a doctor. She wanted to build machines doctors hadn't imagined yet. Her dad, Paul, tried to be there, but he was the quiet type, more comfortable behind a wrench than with emotions. After Sandra died, he sold the house, gave Kate a tight hug, and drove his truck into some new life down in Tennessee. They talked maybe twice a year after that. In her dorm room at MIT, Kate hung only one photo. Her and her mom sitting in a wheelchair-accessible garden they built together the summer before her mom stopped walking completely. Kate's acceptance letter had come 2 weeks before that photo was taken. Sandra's last words to her were, "You're going to change everything. Don't let anyone stop you." She didn't. Not at first. She graduated top of her class, moved to California, and bounced between NASA contracts and private tech labs. She started working on wearable support devices, muscle-responsive gear for injured veterans, and later, designs for enhanced movement in low-gravity environments. She founded VTech with a friend from grad school, Michael Chen, and quickly became a rising star in the world of biomedical engineering. Articles called her the mind behind the future of space physiology. She hated that phrase. There was nothing futuristic about people needing help to walk or stand. That was now. That was real. And yet, despite the accolades, Kate kept her distance from people. She never remarried after her divorce at 31. The marriage had been a short-lived thing with an even shorter list of things in common. He wanted stability, she was married to the lab. The closest she'd come to intimacy since then was a brief situationship with a journalist covering biotech startups. It ended when he suggested she soften her image to be more media-friendly. She walked away without blinking. Vulnerability, to Kate, was a luxury she couldn't afford, not when every room she walked into required her to be the most prepared, the most resilient, the most composed. And that worked, until it didn't. Until the cramps started. At first, it was an ache. Then a spasm. Then full-on leg tremors that would wake her in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, heart racing. She ignored them, rationalized them, pushed through them like she'd done everything else. When they started affecting her grip strength, she ordered ergonomic lab tools and chalked it up to aging. But deep down, that gnawing feeling in her gut returned, the same one she felt as a child watching her mother drop things, stumble, forget words. History wasn't just repeating. It was accelerating. The difference was, Kate had knowledge her mother didn't. She was armed with data, access, technology. She started tracking every symptom. Blood panels, EMGs, nerve conduction studies, she knew how to read them better than most doctors. The results were inconclusive. Mild neuromuscular inefficiency. Possible early autoimmune indicators. Monitor and report if symptoms progress. But they were progressing. Fast. And the truth she refused to say out loud sat like a stone in her throat, something was wrong with her. The irony was cruel. She'd built a career on optimizing movement, only to find herself unable to control her own. Still, she pushed on. The deal with SpaceX was her biggest opportunity yet. If she could get her exosuit approved for in-flight astronaut use, she'd not only secure a multimillion-dollar contract, she'd prove to herself, and the world, that nothing could stop her. She tripled her work hours. She skipped therapy appointments. She stopped replying to friends, stopped calling her dad. Sleep became optional. Food was protein bars and cold coffee. The cramps worsened. But the deadlines loomed closer. The night before the conference, she woke up screaming, legs twisted, toes clawed inward, calf muscles rock-hard knots under the skin. She bit her pillow so hard she cracked a molar. And yet, she didn't cancel. Not the speech. Not the gala. Not the meeting with Elon Musk himself. She took a double dose of magnesium, taped heating pads to her thighs, and wore compression leggings under her dress. And then she fell. And the entire illusion shattered. After the hospital, the only calls she got were from Michael, short, business-focused, and her assistant, who offered to pack up her office for her. She ignored both. Her inbox was a war zone of sympathy, curiosity, and veiled judgments. Her apartment, once filled with blueprints and smart mirrors and voice command lighting, now felt like a hollow echo of ambition. The silence pressed against her skin like a weight. She cancelled every calendar event and logged out of Slack. For the first time in her adult life, Kate Morgan had no plan. She just existed. Her legs still hurt. The doctors prescribed physical therapy and rest. She did neither. She sat in her living room for hours, laptop on her knees, watching the viral video of her collapse on loop. Her fall. Over and over again. Her face. Her legs. The humiliation. She kept watching until she couldn't anymore, then threw the laptop across the room. It didn't break. She almost wished it had. The day after, she booked a one-way car to Redondo Beach. No good reason. Just a place she remembered from a quiet weekend with her mom when she was 16. They ate grilled cheese on the boardwalk and watched surfers crash into the cold water. It felt like freedom back then. She rented a small unit above a bakery, cheap, slightly moldy, but with a sliver of ocean view if she leaned out the window. She sat on the floor with her old notebooks and vitamin bottles and tried to map out her life again. But the grids and formulas no longer made sense. Her body wasn't a machine she could upgrade. It was something she had to listen to. She just didn't know how. One morning, 2 weeks after the collapse, she walked barefoot to the beach, legs aching with every step, sand cold under her feet. She sat by the water, letting the tide nip her toes. A child ran past her, laughing, trailing a plastic rocket on a string. Kate closed her eyes and thought of her mom. Of her promise. Of how it all began. Somewhere behind her, a jogger passed, earbuds in, sweat glistening. Kate looked down at her own legs, still strong, but no longer reliable. And in that moment, she whispered something she hadn't dared say aloud until now. "I'm scared." The words broke open something inside her. Not defeat. Not weakness. Just truth. It was the beginning of something. Not recovery, not redemption, at least not yet. But honesty. The kind her mother used to give freely, even in pain. That night, back in her tiny room, she took out a pen and wrote 3 things on a notepad. 1. Figure out what's wrong. 2. Fix it if possible. 3. Help someone else before it's too late. The list wasn't revolutionary. But it was something. And after weeks of feeling nothing but loss, something was more than enough. The first time Kate remembered taking vitamins, she was 5 years old, sitting at the breakfast table in a kitchen that always smelled faintly of cinnamon and antiseptic. Her mother set them in front of her like they were treasure, 1 bright orange chewable, 1 liquid drop on a spoon, and 1 banana-flavored calcium tab that always made her gag. Sandra Morgan didn't believe in shortcuts when it came to health. She read every label, knew every nutrient by its Latin name, and told Kate every morning the same thing: your body is your foundation. Feed it right, and it'll carry you further than any dream ever could. Kate never forgot that, even when she rolled her eyes as a teenager or hid the pills under her tongue just to spit them out when her mom turned around. But as the years went on, the ritual of it, the bottles clinking, the water glass always filled to the brim, the post-breakfast chart her mom taped to the fridge, became sacred. Because with each passing year, Sandra's body betrayed her a little more. The first signs were subtle. A stumble here, a missed step there. She laughed them off, blamed her shoes. Then came the twitching. A shake in her left hand that never really stopped. The appointment started soon after. Tests, specialists, new names for things they already feared. Finally, a diagnosis, a rare, non-genetic form of ALS. Kate was 10. Her father retreated into his work, fixing cars late into the night, avoiding the truth. Sandra, meanwhile, fought it with every ounce of strength she had left. She filled notebooks with symptom trackers, blended kale into everything, experimented with alternative treatments no doctor would endorse. And the vitamins never stopped. They became symbols more than supplements, each pill a protest, a hope, a declaration that she would not go quietly. Kate watched it all with wide, terrified eyes. At school, she pretended things were fine. At home, she became her mother's shadow, fetching water, massaging her legs, pretending not to notice the new bruises when Sandra bumped into corners she swore she could still see. One night, when Kate was 12, she caught her mom crying alone in the bathroom. She wasn't sobbing, just sitting there, quiet tears running down her face, staring at her reflection like she didn't recognize it anymore. That image lodged itself in Kate's brain like a splinter. Later that night, she crawled into bed next to her mom and whispered, "I'll fix this." Sandra smiled and kissed her forehead. "You don't have to fix me, Katie. Just live. Live big. That'll be enough." But Kate didn't believe her. Not really. From that night forward, she made herself a promise. She wouldn't just live, she'd learn everything. She'd build things no one had built before. She'd decode every signal the human body could send. And if there was no cure for what took her mom, she'd make sure the next little girl watching her mother fade away wouldn't feel so helpless. That vow hardened inside her, quietly guiding every decision she made for the next 2 decades. It's what drove her to compete in science fairs when other kids were sneaking out to parties. It's why she chose biomedical engineering over computer science, why she interned at the Cleveland Clinic instead of vacationing in Europe, why she skipped senior prom to attend a symposium on neurodegeneration. Every step forward was powered by that old memory, by the sound of pills rattling in plastic, by the image of her mother's trembling hands still trying to hold a pen. At MIT, her professors called her obsessive. She took it as a compliment. Her dorm desk was stacked with anatomy books and engineering schematics. She designed a rudimentary leg support device in her sophomore year that her biomechanics professor said was brilliant, but unmarketable. She didn't care. She wasn't building for a market. She was building for a ghost. When her mother finally passed, Kate was 20 and too angry to cry. At the funeral, she didn't speak. She just stood by the casket in a pressed black suit, fists clenched, eyes dry. Her father offered her a ride back home. She declined and booked a flight instead. They barely spoke after that. Kate didn't need him. She needed results. She dove deeper into her studies, publishing papers on neuromuscular feedback loops, experimenting with microsensors embedded in fabric, staying in labs long after the lights dimmed. She lost weight, forgot birthdays, skipped holidays. Relationships came and went, none lasting longer than a few months. No one ever stayed. She told herself she didn't care. Her real relationships were with her prototypes, with the machines that listened when the body stopped responding. VTech was born out of this tunnel vision. She met Michael at a DARPA grant conference, and they bonded over their mutual loathing of bureaucracy and their love of elegant solutions. They started in his garage, built their first suit with parts from a disassembled treadmill, a medical-grade pressure cuff, and salvaged drone motors. The early models were clunky, but functional. Kate's genius wasn't just in design, it was in understanding what people needed before they could articulate it. She wasn't trying to replace human movement. She was trying to preserve it. When word got out that NASA was looking for next-generation astronaut mobility solutions, they made their move. The pitch to SpaceX came a year later. And now, all of it was ashes. Sitting alone in Redondo Beach, Kate tried to remember what any of it had been for. The money was gone. The lab was gone. Her reputation was fractured. And still, in the drawer beside her bed, was a lined wooden box filled with vitamins, magnesium, potassium, B12, D3, K2, and a multivitamin labeled joint and nerve support. She opened the box every morning, stared at the pills, then closed it again. She hadn't taken any since the hospital. Some part of her still felt like she didn't deserve them. Like taking them was admitting she was broken. But that vow she made, back when she was a little girl watching her mom cry, hadn't been fulfilled yet. Her body might be failing. Her company might be dead. But she wasn't. Not yet. One morning, after another sleepless night filled with phantom cramps and racing thoughts, she made herself a small breakfast. Just eggs and toast. No appetite. But after she cleared her plate, she reached for the box. She took out each bottle, opened them one by one, and laid the pills out in the same order her mom used to. 1 orange capsule. 2 round tabs. A soft gel that gleamed in the morning light. She held them in her palm for a long time, then threw them back and swallowed them all in one go. The water was cold. It shocked her system. It woke her up. That afternoon, she took a walk. Not far. Just down to the beach and back. Her legs ached, but they didn't give out. She breathed through the tightness, focused on the rhythm of her steps. Each footfall felt like a negotiation. But she made it. That night, she wrote something new in her journal. I can't fix the past. But I can honor it. The next day, she searched for a physical therapist nearby. She didn't need a miracle. She needed movement. Progress. Even pain would be better than stillness. Because stillness was surrender. And Kate Morgan had never been the surrendering type. Kate Morgan woke to the familiar ache curling in her calves like a coiled spring, a sensation she had learned to dread but never fully understand. She lay still for a moment, willing the cramps to release their grip, but the tightness only deepened, shooting sharp, relentless pain through her lower legs. Her hands trembled as she reached for the heating pad she had set the night before. The warmth soothed some of the spasms, but the underlying weakness remained. She sat up slowly, balancing on the edge of the bed, every muscle protesting the movement. The mirror across the room reflected a woman she barely recognized, sharp eyes, pale skin, and legs that had begun to betray her in ways no engineer could predict. She thought about the exosuit she had designed, a marvel of sensors and motors meant to amplify human strength in zero gravity and long missions. Yet here she was, struggling with the most basic function, standing and walking without pain. The cruel irony wasn't lost on her. Determined not to waste another day, Kate swallowed a handful of magnesium and potassium supplements, hoping they might stave off the worst of the cramps. She'd read enough research papers to know that deficiencies in these essential minerals could cause muscle spasms, but the data was murky. Everyone's body reacted differently. She checked her phone for the lab results from the last blood panel: calcium borderline low, vitamin D insufficient, potassium slightly off. Fix the deficiencies, fix the symptoms, her mother's voice echoed in her mind. But fixing things wasn't always that simple. The neuromuscular inefficiency was a puzzle with too many missing pieces, a mystery Kate was desperate to solve. She dressed carefully, slipping on compression leggings to support her calves and thighs. Each movement was deliberate, controlled, as if choreographed to avoid triggering the spasms. Walking to the kitchen, she brewed a cup of black coffee, the bitter aroma cutting through the stillness of the morning. She stared out the window at the gray Pacific, waves rolling relentlessly toward the shore. Out there, astronauts floated weightless, free of gravity's cruel pull. Here, gravity was her enemy. The phone buzzed, Michael Chen. She hesitated, then answered. Kate. How are you holding up? His voice was cautious, almost clinical. She wanted to snap, to tell him she was falling apart. Instead, she said, better than yesterday. They talked briefly about the SpaceX contract, about deadlines postponed, about the lab. I'm here if you need anything, he said, but the words felt hollow. She'd pushed away everyone who cared, convinced herself she had to face this alone. After the call, she sat down with her laptop and pulled up the exosuit schematics. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard but didn't move. The suit was supposed to be the solution for astronauts dealing with muscle atrophy in space. Now it felt like a cruel reminder of her failure, designed to keep others moving while she struggled to stand. Frustration bubbled up, threatening to drown her resolve. She closed the laptop and leaned back, eyes closing as the spasms returned, twisting her calves into tight knots. The pain was sharp, electric, and unrelenting. She gritted her teeth, breathing slowly, willing the muscles to relax. When the cramps finally subsided, she forced herself up again, this time reaching for her phone. She scrolled through messages from doctors and specialists, appointments she had ignored, tests she had postponed. It was time to face the truth. She called her neurologist, Dr. Reynolds, and scheduled a consultation for the following week. The days that followed were a blur of appointments, physical therapy sessions, and sleepless nights. The physical therapist, a kind woman named Jenna, was patient but firm. "We need to retrain your muscles," she said, demonstrating stretches and exercises that left Kate exhausted. Every session ended with spasms and cramps so intense they brought tears to her eyes. But Jenna encouraged her to push through the pain. "Your body is fighting, Kate. Don't give up on it." Between sessions, Kate researched every vitamin and mineral known to support muscle function: magnesium, potassium, calcium, vitamin D, B12, and even less common ones like taurine and coenzyme Q10. She experimented with doses and combinations, tracking their effects on a spreadsheet. She felt like a scientist studying an alien species, her own body, trying to decode its signals before it gave up entirely. The emotional toll was heavy. She grew irritable, distant, and haunted by memories of her mother's decline. Some nights, she lay awake, wondering if her body would betray her the same way. The fear was a constant shadow, but it also fueled her determination. One afternoon, as she walked along the beach, slowly, carefully, her phone buzzed with a notification from a medical journal, a breakthrough study on vitamin D and neuromuscular health. The study suggested that adequate vitamin D levels significantly improved muscle strength and reduced cramps in patients with similar symptoms. Kate's heart raced. This could be the clue she needed. She ordered high-dose vitamin D supplements and scheduled another blood test. Days passed, and she noticed a subtle difference. The cramps were less frequent, less intense. She could walk a bit farther without support. It wasn't a cure, but it was progress. Encouraged, she called Michael and shared the news. His voice was warmer this time, relief evident. "That's amazing, Kate. Keep me posted." Renewed by this small victory, Kate poured herself into modifying the exosuit to integrate biofeedback sensors that could monitor vitamin levels and muscle activity in real time. The suit could then adjust support dynamically, delivering electrical stimulation to weaken muscles and alerting wearers when deficiencies might be causing spasms. The idea was revolutionary, combining nutrition, physiology, and robotics into a seamless system. But progress wasn't linear. Just when she thought she was on the right track, setbacks came. The sensors malfunctioned during testing. A spike in her symptoms sidelined her for days. Frustration threatened to undo her. But each challenge brought a new insight, a deeper understanding of the complex interplay between the body and technology. One evening, after a particularly brutal spasm left her immobilized for hours, Kate sat on the floor, back against the wall, and allowed herself to cry. The walls of her tiny apartment seemed to close in. She whispered into the silence, "I'm scared." The vulnerability was a release, a moment of honesty she had denied herself for years. The next morning, she reached out to an online support group for people with neuromuscular disorders. The messages flooded in, stories of struggle, hope, and resilience. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. Inspired, Kate invited several members to participate in a pilot study testing the new suit. Their feedback was invaluable, real-world data she couldn't replicate in labs. She adjusted the design, improved comfort, and refined the algorithms. Slowly, the suit evolved from a prototype to a lifeline. Months later, at a small conference in Los Angeles, Kate stood before an audience of doctors, engineers, and patients. She shared her journey, the fall, the fear, the science, and the hope. She unveiled the latest model of the exosuit, highlighting its unique ability to support weakened muscles while providing nutritional feedback. The crowd responded with standing ovations and heartfelt questions. Backstage, she received a message from Elon Musk, "Impressed by your work. Let's talk." The moment was bittersweet. It wasn't the contract she once dreamed of, but it was a start. Kate knew the road ahead was long and uncertain. Her body still betrayed her in unexpected ways, but she was no longer fighting alone. With every step, tentative, painful, but forward, she reclaimed her life. The woman who had once believed she could fix everything realized she only needed to fix one thing, her relationship with herself. And that, she discovered, was the greatest strength of all. Kate Morgan's world felt like it had cracked wide open, shards of her past and present piercing through every moment. The lab fire had reduced years of work to ashes, the failed contracts had drained her savings, and her body betrayed her with every painful cramp and spasm. Yet, amidst the rubble, a small flicker of hope endured. She couldn't give up now, not when she had come so far, and not when the promise she made to her mother still burned in her heart. Climbing back wouldn't be easy. It would demand everything she had and more. The morning after the conference where Elon Musk reached out, Kate sat in her small apartment overlooking the Pacific, her fingers wrapped around a chipped mug of black coffee. The email from Musk's assistant sat unread in her inbox. It was an invitation to discuss potential collaboration, a lifeline she hadn't dared to hope for. Yet the weight of self-doubt pressed down on her chest. Could she really deliver? Could she overcome her body's betrayals and the wreckage of her company? She reminded herself of the countless nights spent on the floor, cradling her legs through agonizing cramps, the image of her mother's trembling hands, the promises whispered in a dim bathroom light. If she could endure that, she could endure this. She opened her laptop, drafting a response. The words came slowly, cautious but hopeful. The next day, she flew to SpaceX headquarters, a sleek glass building pulsing with energy and innovation. Meeting Elon Musk felt surreal. His presence was commanding, but surprisingly grounded when the conversation turned personal. "Your story isn't just about technology," he said, eyes sharp yet kind. "It's about resilience. That's what makes the difference." The meeting sparked a partnership. Musk's resources combined with Kate's vision promised a new era for the exosuit project. But resources alone wouldn't fix everything. Kate needed to rebuild her health, her strength, her confidence. Back home, she threw herself into a rigorous routine. Early mornings began with stretches and light exercise, guided by Jenna's carefully tailored plan. She incorporated a regimented vitamin and mineral schedule, magnesium to relax her muscles, potassium to support nerve function, calcium for bone health, vitamin D for absorption and immunity, B12 to boost energy and nerve repair, and vitamin K2 to ensure calcium deposited correctly in bones rather than arteries. She documented every cramp, every ache, every small improvement in a digital journal she called The Climb. Each entry was both a report and a motivation. The body was a mountain, and she was determined to scale it. She attended therapy sessions that tested her endurance. Some days were breakthroughs, legs strong enough to walk 5 blocks, muscles steady enough to carry groceries without support. Other days were setbacks, crippling spasms that left her gasping, frustration threatening to overwhelm her. But through it all, she reminded herself of the bigger picture: movement was freedom. Freedom meant independence. Independence meant life. At the same time, Kate began rebuilding VTech's team. She reached out to former colleagues, researchers, and investors who had doubted her, not with excuses but with evidence of progress. Slowly, she assembled a small but dedicated group who believed in the mission. Together, they refined the exosuit's design, integrating the biofeedback sensors that tracked not just muscle activity but electrolyte levels and nutritional deficiencies in real time. The suit was becoming an intelligent companion, anticipating cramps and delivering targeted electrical stimulation to prevent them. They tested prototypes on patients with neuromuscular disorders, gathering invaluable data that shaped improvements. Kate's leadership was a mix of fierce determination and quiet empathy. She listened to users' stories, understanding that the suit was more than a machine. It was hope. The media took notice. Articles hailed the suit as a breakthrough for people with chronic leg cramps and mobility issues. Invitations to speak at conferences and medical summits followed. Kate accepted cautiously, knowing public scrutiny could be as brutal as personal failure. Meanwhile, her body continued its unpredictable dance. Some mornings greeted her with stiff limbs and fiery spasms, others offered a fleeting grace that reminded her why she fought so hard. The vitamins helped, yes, but so did the suit, the therapy, the relentless will to move forward. One evening, after a long day of testing, Kate sat on the balcony, the sun dipping below the horizon in a blaze of oranges and purples. Her legs felt heavy, a dull ache pulsing beneath the surface. Michael joined her quietly, handing her a glass of water and a small container of magnesium capsules. "You're pushing too hard," he said softly. She shook her head. "I'm climbing, Michael. I have to." He nodded, understanding the unspoken battle raging inside her. That night, Kate dreamed of her mother. Sandra Morgan, frail but radiant, standing in a sunlit field, arms open wide. "Keep going, Katie," she whispered. "We're stronger than we know." Kate woke with tears on her cheeks and renewed resolve. Months passed. The exosuit entered clinical trials. The team worked around the clock, fueled by passion and purpose. Kate's health stabilized enough to attend meetings and presentations without the looming shadow of pain. She even managed to rekindle a friendship with her father, sharing stories and memories that had once been too painful to face. Then came the day of the first public demonstration. In a packed auditorium, Kate watched as a young man with muscular dystrophy donned the exosuit. The sensors came alive, muscles responded, cramps prevented. The audience erupted in applause. Kate felt a wave of emotion she struggled to contain. This wasn't just technology, it was a testament to survival, to love, to the power of never giving up. Afterward, Elon Musk appeared at her side, smiling. "You climbed back, Kate. This is just the beginning." She looked out at the crowd, at the faces lit with hope and wonder. Her journey had been long, marked by pain and loss, but it had forged something stronger than any setback. Life, she realized, wasn't about never falling. It was about rising every time with a little more strength, a little more grace. And for Kate Morgan, the climb was far from over. Kate Morgan sat at her kitchen table, a swirl of medical journals and vitamin bottles spread before her like pieces of a puzzle. After months of trial and error with supplements and therapies, she had begun to understand that her body's battle with muscle cramps wasn't just about physical weakness. It was about nourishment, the subtle dance of vitamins and minerals that fueled every fiber of her being. The deeper she dug into the science, the more convinced she became that the right balance of essential nutrients was the hidden key to strong, cramp-free legs. The question wasn't just which vitamins she needed, but how they worked together to sustain muscle health. She began with magnesium, a mineral she had learned was critical for muscle relaxation. It acted like a brake pedal, easing contractions and calming the nerve signals that triggered spasms. Low magnesium levels were a common culprit in chronic cramping, yet many people overlooked it because symptoms could be subtle: fatigue, irritability, and restless legs creeping in slowly. Kate took extra care to include magnesium-rich foods like spinach, almonds, and black beans in her diet while supplementing with magnesium citrate for better absorption. Next was potassium, the body's electrical conductor. Every muscle contraction depended on potassium moving in and out of cells, a delicate balance that if disrupted, could send muscles into painful, uncontrollable spasms. Bananas were a go-to, but she also embraced sweet potatoes, avocados, and coconut water to maintain optimal levels. Calcium was another vital player. Not just for bones but for muscle contractions. It acted like a trigger: when calcium entered muscle cells, contraction followed. Too little calcium, and muscles could become weak and cramp-prone. But excess calcium without proper vitamin D and K2 could lead to calcification in arteries, a risk Kate wanted to avoid. She carefully balanced these nutrients, understanding their interplay was as important as the individual amounts. Vitamin D was a revelation. Initially dismissed as just the sunshine vitamin, it had far-reaching effects on muscle function, immune support, and even mood regulation. Many studies showed vitamin D deficiency correlated strongly with muscle weakness and cramps. Kate's blood tests confirmed her own deficiency, a factor she blamed in part on the long hours indoors working on the exosuit. She began high-dose vitamin D supplementation under medical supervision, coupled with regular sun exposure when possible. B vitamins, particularly B12 and B6, also joined her regimen. Known for supporting nerve health and energy metabolism, deficiencies could lead to neuropathy and muscle weakness. Kate sourced quality supplements and paid attention to her diet, adding eggs, fish, and fortified cereals. Vitamin K2 was less talked about but critical in guiding calcium to the bones rather than soft tissues. Without it, calcium could build up in arteries and muscles, causing stiffness and cramps. Natto, a fermented soybean dish rich in K2, became a surprising staple in her meals, along with grass-fed butter and aged cheeses. Taurine, an amino acid, was another discovery. It helped regulate calcium levels in muscle cells and supported muscle contraction and relaxation cycles. Kate incorporated taurine-rich foods like seafood and began supplementing with powder when necessary. Coenzyme Q10, an antioxidant, supported mitochondrial function, the powerhouses in her muscle cells, boosting energy and reducing fatigue. Every new vitamin or mineral added was a careful experiment. Kate tracked symptoms meticulously, noting which combinations lessened cramps, improved endurance, or helped her recover faster. She shared her findings with Jenna, the physical therapist, who adjusted the exercise plans accordingly. The transformation wasn't immediate, but it was real. Over weeks, Kate felt her muscles grow stronger, more resilient. The cramps that had haunted her nights and interrupted her days became less frequent and less severe. She realized that the vitamins weren't just supplements, they were the foundation of her body's healing process. This knowledge inspired a new direction for the exosuit project. What if the suit could monitor not only muscle activity but also nutrient levels? Real-time data could warn users of impending deficiencies before cramps began, prompting timely supplementation or dietary adjustments. Kate and her team began integrating biosensors capable of detecting electrolyte and vitamin levels through sweat and skin analysis. The suit would become a personalized health coach, combining technology with nutrition science to keep legs strong and cramp-free. The media dubbed it a breakthrough in wearable health technology, and patients with chronic cramping and neuromuscular diseases expressed hope for relief. Despite the excitement, Kate remained grounded. She knew that vitamins alone weren't a magic cure. Hydration, sleep, stress management, and exercise were equally vital pieces of the puzzle. She emphasized this holistic approach in every presentation, encouraging people to listen to their bodies and seek professional guidance. One evening, as she prepared a dinner rich in leafy greens, salmon, and fermented vegetables, her phone buzzed with a message from Michael. Big news. Elon wants to meet next week to discuss expanding the project. Kate smiled, feeling the familiar surge of adrenaline mixed with gratitude. The climb was far from over, but with every discovery, every vitamin, every breakthrough, she was climbing stronger. She closed her journal and looked out at the night sky, stars shimmering like distant promises. The hidden power of nutrition had become her secret weapon, a light guiding her through the darkness of pain and uncertainty toward a future filled with strength, hope, and possibility. Kate Morgan's journey toward stronger, cramp-free legs had taken her through mountains of research, personal pain, and moments of hope. But progress was never a straight line. In the months following her discovery of the vital role nutrition played in muscle health, she faced a roller coaster of breakthroughs and setbacks that tested her resolve and reshaped her vision. The latest prototype of the exosuit was a marvel, a sleek, lightweight garment embedded with sensors that could monitor muscle activity, electrolyte levels, and vitamin concentrations in real time. The suit not only provided electrical stimulation to prevent spasms but also sent alerts to users when nutritional imbalances were detected, suggesting dietary changes or supplements to maintain optimal muscle function. Kate and her team had spent countless hours in the lab and field testing the suit with volunteers suffering from various neuromuscular conditions. The early results were promising. Users reported fewer cramps, improved mobility, and greater confidence in their daily lives. Yet, despite the excitement, technical glitches and unexpected problems threatened to stall the project. During one clinical trial, a sudden software malfunction caused the suit's electrical stimulation to fire erratically, triggering painful muscle contractions rather than preventing them. The volunteer, a middle-aged man named Sam with a history of severe cramps, experienced intense discomfort and had to be rushed to the hospital for evaluation. The incident sent shockwaves through the team. Kate felt the weight of responsibility crushing her. Had she pushed the technology too far, too fast? Was her drive to innovate putting patients at risk? Determined to learn from the failure, Kate led a thorough investigation. The root cause was traced to a faulty sensor calibration algorithm, which misread the biochemical signals and triggered incorrect responses. The fix required a complete overhaul of the suit's software architecture, delaying the project by months. The setback was demoralizing, but it also forced the team to refine their safety protocols and prioritize user well-being above all. Meanwhile, Kate's own health continued to be unpredictable. One morning, she woke with intense leg cramps that left her unable to stand for hours. The pain was a stark reminder that despite advances in technology and nutrition, her body remained fragile. Frustration bubbled beneath her calm exterior. She wondered if her relentless pursuit of progress was undermining her own healing. In moments like these, the memories of her mother's decline haunted her. Sandra Morgan's hands trembling, her voice soft with exhaustion, the sense of helplessness that had once overwhelmed Kate. But in those same moments, Kate also found her strength. She reminded herself of the promises she had made, to keep climbing, to keep pushing, to keep fighting for herself and others who suffered silently. She leaned into her support network, Jenna the therapist, Michael the colleague turned friend, and the online community that shared stories of pain and perseverance. Their encouragement rekindled her determination. One breakthrough came unexpectedly during a late-night coding session. A junior engineer named Luis discovered a way to use machine learning algorithms to personalize the suit's responses based on each user's unique biochemical profile and movement patterns. The suit could learn from the wearer's data over time, anticipating cramps before they began and adjusting stimulation and nutritional guidance accordingly. This adaptive technology transformed the exosuit from a reactive device into a proactive health partner. Kate was exhilarated. The vision she had nurtured for years was finally becoming reality, a fusion of biology, technology, and personalized care. But implementing the new system required extensive data collection and rigorous testing. Volunteers were asked to wear the suit continuously for weeks, providing streams of data that the algorithms could analyze. Some participants reported dramatic improvements, while others experienced intermittent issues. Kate and her team worked tirelessly to interpret the data, refine the models, and improve reliability. Amidst the technical challenges, Kate also grappled with the emotional toll of her work. She knew that behind every data point was a human story, people desperate for relief, parents worried about their children, seniors longing for independence. The stakes were high, and failure felt personal. Yet each small victory, a day without cramps, a step taken without pain, renewed her purpose. In one particularly moving moment, Kate met Grace, a young woman with a rare neuromuscular disorder who had struggled with debilitating leg cramps since childhood. Grace's eyes shone with cautious hope as she donned the exosuit for the first time. After weeks of use, she reported a level of freedom she hadn't known in years. Watching Grace walk steadily across the room, Kate felt tears prick her eyes. This was why she endured the setbacks, the pain, the uncertainty. Despite these advances, the path ahead was fraught with challenges. Funding pressures mounted as the project's timeline stretched. Investors questioned the pace of progress, and some urged Kate to pivot toward more immediately profitable applications. Kate resisted, determined to stay true to the mission of helping those who suffered from chronic cramps and mobility issues. Her relationship with Michael deepened during this period, providing a rare source of stability. They shared late-night conversations about dreams and fears, breakthroughs and disappointments. Michael's steady presence reminded Kate that she wasn't alone in this fight. Their friendship blossomed into something more, a tentative but welcome light in her often dark world. Yet, even as her personal and professional life evolved, Kate's body reminded her that recovery was nonlinear. A flare-up of symptoms sidelined her for days, forcing her to rely on others and accept help, a difficult lesson for someone who had always prided herself on independence. She learned to balance ambition with self-care, pushing forward without sacrificing her health. One evening, after a grueling day of tests and data analysis, Kate sat in her apartment, muscles aching but spirit undimmed. She reflected on the journey, the fire that had destroyed her lab, the pain that had nearly broken her, the breakthroughs that had rekindled her hope. The climb was steep, the path uncertain, but every step forward was a triumph. Kate drafted a speech for an upcoming conference, intending to share not just the technology but the story behind it, the human struggle, the importance of resilience, and the transformative power of combining science with compassion. She wanted the world to know that behind every innovation was a woman who had faced her own battles and refused to give up. As she typed, her phone buzzed with a message from Elon Musk, impressed with the progress. "Let's discuss scaling production soon." The words felt like a promise, a bridge to the future she had dreamed of. Kate smiled, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. The road ahead would be long, filled with unexpected turns, but she was ready. Breakthroughs and setbacks were part of the journey. What mattered was the climb itself, the strength to rise, the courage to continue, and the hope that sustained her every step. Kate Morgan had always known that success came with a price, but nothing prepared her for the crushing weight of expectations that settled on her shoulders like a physical burden. The promise of the exosuit, a revolutionary device designed to keep legs strong and cramp-free, had ignited hope among thousands, from patients with chronic muscle disorders to athletes seeking an edge. Investors, media, and the medical community watched her every move, eager for results, ready to judge. The pressure was relentless. After Elon Musk's encouraging message about scaling production, Kate found herself navigating a complex web of demands. The SpaceX partnership promised unprecedented resources but also brought scrutiny and high stakes. Meetings with executives became a daily ritual, where timelines were pushed tighter, budgets debated, and expectations clarified. "We need results, Kate. The world is watching," Elon's assistant reminded during one particularly tense video call. Kate understood the urgency. The stakes were personal, her own health struggles, the memory of her mother's suffering, the thousands who could benefit from this technology. But balancing innovation with the reality of limited time and resources was an exhausting dance. Every decision carried consequences, and every delay seemed magnified under the spotlight. In the midst of this, Kate's body continued its unpredictable course. Muscle cramps flared with little warning, often at the most inconvenient moments. One afternoon, during a crucial presentation to potential investors, her leg seized painfully, forcing her to sit down abruptly. The room fell silent, eyes filled with concern and curiosity. Kate masked the pain with a tight smile and pressed on, but the incident left her shaken. That evening, Michael found her on the balcony, eyes distant, hands trembling slightly. "You can't do this alone," he said gently. "You have to let people in." Kate nodded, the vulnerability she often hid surfacing briefly. She realized that the weight of expectations was isolating her, pushing her into a fortress of control. She began delegating more, trusting her team to handle details she once managed herself. Jenna took greater responsibility for the health and therapy side, Luis led software development with renewed confidence, and new hires bolstered the engineering and clinical trial teams. Kate focused on strategic decisions and public engagement, though it meant confronting her own fears of losing control. The media frenzy intensified. Articles portrayed Kate as a visionary battling her own physical limitations to bring hope to millions. Interviews and panel discussions filled her calendar, each one a delicate balancing act between transparency and professionalism. She shared her story candidly, emphasizing the role of vitamins and nutrition alongside technology, aiming to inspire rather than overwhelm. However, not all attention was positive. Skeptics questioned the feasibility of the exosuit, labeling it a tech fantasy or overhyped gadget. Critics pointed to the earlier software malfunction as proof of reckless ambition. Social media buzzed with debate, sometimes supportive, sometimes harsh. Kate learned to filter noise from constructive feedback, a skill honed through experience but never easy. Amidst this turmoil, Kate faced a personal crossroads. Her relationship with Michael deepened but was tested by the relentless pace and public scrutiny. Late nights and travel left little time for connection, and moments of doubt crept in. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, they argued over priorities and burnout. The conversation was painful but honest, forcing Kate to confront her limits and the need for balance. The turning point came during a conference in San Francisco. As Kate took the stage to present the latest exosuit advancements, she felt a wave of calm wash over her. She spoke not as a scientist or CEO but as a woman who had faced fear, pain, and uncertainty head-on. Her message resonated deeply with the audience, an affirmation that strength wasn't the absence of struggle but the courage to persist. After the speech, a young woman approached her, tears in her eyes. "Your story saved me," she said. "I've lived with muscle cramps for years and thought I was alone. Knowing someone else fights like this gives me hope." Moments like this reminded Kate why she endured the weight of expectations. Back home, Kate restructured her schedule to include regular breaks, physical therapy, and mindfulness practices. She found solace in simple routines, morning stretches with Jenna, quiet dinners with Michael, journaling reflections on her journey. The balance wasn't perfect, but it grounded her. The exosuit project advanced steadily. Clinical trials expanded to include diverse populations, testing the suit's adaptability and effectiveness. User feedback shaped refinements, from improving comfort and battery life to enhancing the nutritional monitoring system. Each improvement was a step toward a future where cramp-free movement was accessible to all who needed it. Kate also launched an educational campaign focusing on the 7 essential vitamins and minerals critical to leg health: magnesium, potassium, calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, B vitamins, and taurine. She partnered with healthcare providers and community organizations to spread awareness, emphasizing that technology and nutrition together offered the best defense against muscle cramps. Despite challenges, Kate's vision endured. She realized that expectations, while heavy, could be transformed into motivation rather than burden. By embracing support, practicing self-care, and staying true to her mission, she was learning to carry the weight with grace. One quiet evening, as she prepared for bed, Kate glanced at a photo of her mother on the bedside table. Sandra Morgan's gentle smile seemed to encourage her still. "We're stronger than we know," the memory whispered. Kate closed her eyes, feeling ready for whatever the next chapter would bring. Kate Morgan's relentless climb was about to face its most unexpected and formidable challenge yet, one that no amount of technology, nutrition, or determination could have fully prepared her for. The unseen enemy wasn't a malfunctioning exosuit or a physical injury, but a creeping shadow in her own body, an autoimmune flare-up that threatened to unravel the progress she had fought so hard to achieve. It began subtly, with an unusual fatigue that settled deep in her bones and muscles, followed by stiffness and pain that no amount of vitamins or therapy seemed to ease. At first, she dismissed it as stress or overexertion, but the symptoms worsened. Her legs, once growing stronger with every passing day, now betrayed her with unpredictable weakness and sharp cramps that left her breathless. The irony was cruel: just as her project neared a critical breakthrough, her own body rebelled. Determined not to be sidelined, Kate sought the counsel of specialists. Tests revealed an autoimmune disorder: her immune system was mistakenly attacking her own muscle tissue. The diagnosis was both a shock and a relief. The cause of her symptoms was finally clear, but the path forward was uncertain and fraught with complexity. Treatment would require immunosuppressive drugs that could interfere with her body's ability to heal and potentially clash with her carefully balanced vitamin regimen. It was a delicate puzzle, one that demanded wisdom, patience, and sacrifice. Kate's team rallied around her, adapting the exosuit's programming to account for her fluctuating muscle function and incorporating new sensors to monitor inflammation markers. Jenna adjusted her physical therapy plans to focus on gentle, restorative movements designed to maintain mobility without triggering flare-ups. Michael provided emotional support, reminding her that vulnerability was not weakness but a form of strength. Together, they navigated the medical maze with determination and hope. Despite the obstacles, Kate refused to let the diagnosis define her. She doubled down on research, exploring emerging treatments and complementary therapies that might offer relief without compromising her progress. She connected with others facing similar challenges, finding comfort in shared experiences and collective resilience. The autoimmune disease was a new enemy, but it would not defeat her spirit. As she adapted to this new reality, Kate gained profound insights into the intersection of chronic illness, technology, and human endurance. The Exosuit project evolved beyond its original scope, incorporating adaptive algorithms capable of responding to unpredictable symptoms and supporting users with a range of conditions. This shift broadened the project's impact and deepened Kate's commitment to inclusivity and innovation. The journey was painful and uncertain, marked by days of despair and moments of triumph. Yet through it all, Kate's story remained one of hope, a testament to the power of perseverance and the unyielding human will to overcome even the unseen enemies within. Kate Morgan discovered early on that the battle against muscle cramps and chronic illness wasn't one she could, or should, face alone. The isolation brought on by pain and uncertainty could weigh heavier than the physical symptoms themselves. It was through connecting with others, sharing stories, and building a community that she found new strength and purpose. Her journey evolved from a solitary fight to a collective movement, one that underscored the power of empathy, support, and shared knowledge. The turning point came when Kate launched an online platform dedicated to people struggling with muscle cramps, chronic pain, and neuromuscular conditions. It was a space for education, encouragement, and exchange, where users could track symptoms, share vitamin and nutrition tips, and discuss their experiences with the Exosuit. The response was overwhelming. Messages poured in from across the country, and soon from around the world. People shared stories of isolation, hope, setbacks, and breakthroughs, weaving a tapestry of human resilience. Kate read each message with care, often replying personally when she could. These interactions grounded her, reminding her that behind every statistic was a person, a mother, a child, a veteran, someone who simply wanted to live without the constant shadow of pain. The community became a source of inspiration and accountability. Users celebrated victories, no matter how small, and offered encouragement during dark days. It was a network of shared humanity, where vulnerability was met with understanding rather than judgment. Beyond the virtual world, Kate organized support groups and workshops in cities partnering with local healthcare providers. These gatherings brought the community face-to-face, fostering deeper connections and collective learning. Physical therapists, nutritionists, and doctors joined the conversations, bridging gaps between medical knowledge and lived experience. Kate often spoke at these events, sharing not just the science behind vitamins and the Exosuit, but the emotional journey of battling chronic illness. This grassroots movement began to influence the project's design philosophy. Feedback from the community shaped features of the Exosuit, making it more user-friendly, adaptable, and inclusive. Kate's team developed educational materials to accompany the suit, empowering users to understand the role of essential vitamins, magnesium, potassium, calcium, vitamin D, and others, in maintaining muscle health. The message was clear: technology alone wasn't enough, informed self-care was key. Kate found herself deeply moved by stories of people reclaiming their lives. There was Maria, a retired teacher who credited the community's support and the Exosuit with allowing her to return to gardening after years of debilitating cramps. There was David, a young athlete whose career was saved by early detection of vitamin deficiencies through the suit's monitoring system. These stories fueled Kate's resolve to push the project forward, knowing that the impact extended far beyond the lab. Yet building and nurturing this community was not without challenges. Misinformation and skepticism occasionally surfaced, requiring careful moderation and transparent communication. Privacy concerns demanded robust data protection measures, balancing innovation with user trust. Kate and her team navigated these complexities with care, guided by a commitment to ethical responsibility. Through it all, Kate learned that the true power of community lay not just in shared resources but in human connection. The kindness, empathy, and courage that transformed individual struggles into collective strength. This realization brought a profound shift in her own outlook. No longer was she climbing alone, she was part of a vast network, each member supporting the other's ascent. One afternoon, during a live virtual event, Kate paused as hundreds of faces appeared on the screen, each representing a unique story of perseverance. She felt a surge of gratitude and hope. The journey was far from over, but together, they were stronger. Together, they would climb higher than any of them could alone. Kate Morgan stood at the crossroads of science and hope, her mind buzzing with ideas as the exosuit project matured into something far greater than she had initially imagined. The fusion of cutting-edge technology, personalized nutrition, and community-driven insight was beginning to transform lives on a scale she had once only dreamed of. But innovation was a living thing, never static, always evolving. Every breakthrough inspired new questions, fresh challenges, and boundless possibilities. The latest version of the exosuit incorporated advanced biosensors capable of detecting not just vitamin and electrolyte levels but also markers of inflammation and muscle fatigue. These real-time data streams allowed the suit to adjust stimulation patterns instantaneously, preventing cramps before they could even begin. Luis and his team developed sophisticated machine learning models that personalized these adjustments based on the wearer's unique physiology and daily activity patterns. The result was a device that was not just smart but intuitive, adapting seamlessly to the ebb and flow of each user's condition. Kate marveled at how far the project had come from its humble beginnings. She recalled the early days when the exosuit was little more than a prototype with clunky sensors and limited functionality. The journey had been marked by late nights, tireless testing, and countless iterations. Yet the driving force behind every innovation was always the same: the desire to alleviate suffering and restore freedom of movement. Inspired by the success, Kate sought to expand the exosuit's reach. She collaborated with specialists in sports medicine, exploring applications for athletes prone to cramps and muscle fatigue. Early trials showed promising results. Runners, cyclists, and dancers reported enhanced performance and faster recovery times. The exosuit's ability to monitor and balance essential vitamins and minerals was a game-changer, highlighting the often overlooked role of nutrition in athletic endurance. At the same time, Kate's attention turned to underserved populations, elderly individuals and those with limited access to healthcare. She partnered with non-profit organizations to develop affordable versions of the exosuit, stripped of non-essential features but retaining core functionalities. The goal was to democratize access to this life-changing technology, bridging gaps in health equity. The community Kate had nurtured played a vital role in this expansion. User feedback guided design tweaks that improved comfort, battery life, and ease of use. Educational materials were translated into multiple languages, making information about essential vitamins and muscle health accessible worldwide. Webinars and workshops empowered users to take control of their well-being, blending technology with education. Kate also found inspiration in the stories shared within the community. She learned of individuals who combined the exosuit with lifestyle changes, mindfulness practices, tailored exercise routines, and dietary adjustments that amplified benefits. These narratives reinforced her belief that healing was holistic, intertwining body, mind, and environment. Amidst the progress, Kate remained grounded by the challenges ahead. Scaling production without compromising quality required navigating supply chain complexities and regulatory hurdles. Data privacy concerns grew as the suit collected increasingly sensitive health information. The team tackled these issues with transparency and innovation, developing secure cloud platforms and robust encryption protocols. Kate's personal journey continued in parallel. The autoimmune condition that had once threatened to derail her progress became a catalyst for deeper understanding. She experimented with emerging therapies and worked closely with her medical team to find balance. The experience deepened her empathy for users facing chronic illness, shaping the exosuit's design philosophy around adaptability and compassion. One afternoon, as Kate reviewed user testimonials, a message caught her eye. It was from a teenage athlete named Jordan, who described how the exosuit had helped him overcome debilitating leg cramps that once sidelined his dreams of playing college soccer. Reading Jordan's words, Kate felt a surge of purpose and pride. Every sleepless night, every setback, had led to moments like this, real lives changed for the better. Kate knew the climb was far from over. Innovation was a continuous ascent, marked by challenges that demanded resilience and vision. Yet with each step, she was reminded that the power to transform lives lay not just in technology, but in the human spirit, the courage to dream, the strength to persevere, and the compassion to uplift others. As the sun set over the city skyline, Kate closed her laptop with a smile. Tomorrow would bring new ideas, new challenges, and new hopes. But tonight, she rested in the knowledge that innovation, fueled by inspiration and community, was lighting the way forward. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The road to success was anything but smooth. Kate Morgan quickly learned that innovation often demanded navigating a tangled maze of trials and setbacks, each testing her resolve in unexpected ways. Despite the promising progress of the exosuit, challenges arose that threatened to derail the momentum and cast shadows over the hard-earned victories. But it was through these trials that Kate's true strength, and the triumph of the human spirit, shone brightest. One of the earliest and most daunting obstacles came during the expanded clinical trials. The team had recruited hundreds of participants across diverse age groups and medical backgrounds to rigorously test the exosuit's effectiveness. Initial results were encouraging, but as the trials progressed, inconsistencies began to surface. Some users experienced significant relief from cramps and improved mobility, while others reported only marginal benefits or, in rare cases, increased discomfort. The variability was frustrating and puzzling. Kate and her team delved into the data, seeking answers. They discovered that individual differences in vitamin absorption, underlying health conditions, and even genetic factors played a major role in how users responded to the suit's therapy. This complexity underscored the necessity for personalized medicine. No one-size-fits-all solution could address such diverse needs. In response, the engineering team, led by Luis, accelerated development of adaptive algorithms that could tailor the suit's functions to each wearer's unique biology and lifestyle. This required integrating more sophisticated biosensors and enhancing machine learning capabilities, a monumental technical challenge. Weeks stretched into months of iterative testing and recalibration, with numerous late nights fueled by determination and occasional frustration. At the same time, regulatory hurdles emerged. Medical device approval processes demanded exhaustive documentation and proof of safety and efficacy. The team had to balance rapid innovation with meticulous compliance, a tightrope walk that required patience and precision. Delays in approvals strained finances and tested investor confidence, adding pressure to an already intense environment. Kate also faced personal trials. The autoimmune flare-ups that had shadowed her journey reoccurred unpredictably, sometimes leaving her debilitated for days. The physical pain was matched by emotional exhaustion, but Kate refused to let her condition define her or stall the project. She learned to pace herself, delegate more, and accept support from her team and loved ones. Michael's steady presence became a sanctuary amid the storm. Amid these struggles, moments of triumph provided vital fuel. The first breakthrough came when a user in the clinical trial, a retired firefighter named James, reported a complete cessation of leg cramps after weeks of wearing the exosuit. His story was shared widely within the community, sparking renewed hope and validation for the project. James's experience became a powerful testament to the potential impact of combining technology with nutritional science. Encouraged, the team refined the suit further, incorporating user feedback to improve comfort and ease of use. They developed companion apps that allowed wearers to track their vitamin intake, monitor muscle activity, and communicate directly with healthcare providers. This integration of technology and health empowered users to take control of their own well-being in unprecedented ways. Kate's public engagements evolved too. She shared candid accounts of the trials, both the setbacks and the victories, emphasizing that progress was a journey filled with uncertainty but driven by unwavering commitment. Her authenticity resonated deeply with audiences, fostering trust and inspiring others facing their own challenges. One particularly memorable moment came during a conference keynote when Kate invited several trial participants on stage. Their testimonies, stories of pain transformed into strength, isolation replaced by community, moved the audience to tears. It was a powerful reminder that the exosuit was more than a device, it was a symbol of hope and resilience. Despite the ongoing challenges, Kate's vision remained clear. She understood that true innovation required embracing failure as a teacher and persistence as a companion. Each trial brought new insights, each triumph a step closer to the goal of widespread accessibility and improved quality of life. As the chapter of trials closed and triumphs unfolded, Kate reflected on the journey. The path was never easy, but it was rich with lessons, growth, and unwavering hope. With her team by her side and a community behind her, she was ready to face whatever came next, confident that every obstacle was an opportunity to rise higher. Kate Morgan felt a surge of exhilaration as the exosuit project crossed a threshold she had long dreamed of, a breakthrough that promised not only to transform individual lives but also to reshape the future of muscle health and mobility. After months of tireless research, testing, and refinement, the team achieved a pivotal advancement. A new generation of exosuits equipped with adaptive AI capable of learning and anticipating the wearer's unique muscle patterns, vitamin levels, and fatigue signals. This leap forward meant the suit could proactively prevent cramps and optimize leg strength with unprecedented precision. The breakthrough didn't happen overnight. It was the result of countless iterations, integration of vast amounts of data from clinical trials, and collaboration with experts in neurology, nutrition, and machine learning. Luis and his software team played a crucial role, developing algorithms that could parse complex biometric data in real time, adapting stimulation and support dynamically as conditions changed. The suit's sensors now monitored a broader range of biomarkers, including subtle shifts in electrolyte balance and inflammation, making the system remarkably responsive. Kate remembered the first time she saw the new model in action during a controlled trial with volunteer participants. One participant, a middle-aged woman named Linda, who had battled persistent leg cramps for years, wore the suit during a moderately strenuous hike. For the first time in years, she completed the trek without a single cramp or episode of fatigue. Watching Linda's relieved smile and confident stride, Kate felt the weight of years of effort crystallize into a tangible, hopeful future. This breakthrough opened new horizons. The exosuit was no longer merely a therapeutic device but a comprehensive wellness companion, seamlessly integrating technology, nutrition, and personalized care. Kate's vision expanded. Beyond addressing muscle cramps, the exosuit could support overall mobility, improve circulation, and even enhance athletic performance. She began exploring partnerships with sports organizations, rehabilitation centers, and senior care facilities, eager to bring the benefits to wider and more diverse populations. At the same time, Kate remained deeply committed to the educational mission at the project's core. The community she had built continued to grow, with thousands sharing their experiences and supporting each other. The platform evolved into a rich resource hub, offering tailored advice on the 7 essential vitamins for leg health: magnesium, potassium, calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, B-complex vitamins, and taurine, along with personalized nutrition plans and lifestyle tips. This holistic approach empowered users to complement the exosuit's support with informed self-care. Kate's personal journey intertwined with these professional milestones. Her autoimmune condition stabilized with the help of new treatments, allowing her to engage more actively in the project. She found renewed energy and inspiration in mentoring young scientists and engineers who joined the team, eager to innovate and make a difference. Michael remained her steadfast partner, sharing the highs and lows of this demanding yet rewarding path. Challenges remained, of course. Scaling production to meet growing demand required new manufacturing partnerships and robust quality control systems. Regulatory approvals in different countries necessitated careful navigation of varying standards and protocols. Data privacy and security concerns intensified as the suit's capabilities expanded, prompting the development of enhanced encryption and user consent frameworks. Yet these challenges paled in comparison to the sense of purpose driving Kate and her team. The exosuit's breakthrough was more than a technological feat, it was a beacon of hope for millions who had long suffered in silence. Kate's story, of perseverance, innovation, and compassion, resonated widely, inspiring others to believe in the power of science and human will. In a quiet moment, reflecting on the journey, Kate realized that this breakthrough was not the end but the beginning of new horizons. The path ahead was full of promise and possibility, waiting to be explored with courage and heart. Just as Kate Morgan and her team celebrated the remarkable breakthroughs with the new generation exosuit, an unexpected storm began to gather on the horizon, threatening to undo months of progress. Innovation, she knew all too well, was never a straight path. The excitement of success was often shadowed by setbacks that tested resilience and resolve. And this time, the challenge was as formidable as it was unforeseen. It began with a technical glitch uncovered during the initial rollout of the latest exosuit to a broader user base. Reports started trickling in about sporadic malfunctions, unexpected device shutdowns, inconsistent muscle stimulation, and inaccuracies in monitoring vitamin levels. At first, the issues seemed isolated and manageable, but as the volume of complaints grew, it became clear the problem was systemic. An urgent investigation was launched. Luis and the engineering team worked around the clock, poring over code, hardware schematics, and user feedback. They traced the root cause to a firmware bug that interfered with the adaptive AI's processing during certain environmental conditions, such as extreme humidity or temperature fluctuations. Fixing the bug required not only a software patch but also a hardware redesign to improve the suit's resilience. While the technical team scrambled to implement solutions, the negative user experiences began to ripple through the community. Social media platforms and forums buzzed with frustration and disappointment. Some users temporarily lost confidence in the technology, and a few even discontinued use. The setback was a blow not just to the project but to Kate personally. She felt the weight of responsibility keenly. Every user affected was a person depending on the promise of relief and support. Simultaneously, regulatory challenges intensified. The unexpected malfunctions prompted a review by the FDA and other global agencies, resulting in a temporary halt on new shipments until the issues were resolved and verified. This delay strained the company's finances and tested investor patience, threatening future funding rounds. The pressure mounted. Kate confronted the crisis head-on, choosing transparency over silence. She issued public statements acknowledging the issues, explaining the steps underway to resolve them, and reaffirming the team's commitment to quality and safety. In town hall meetings and online Q&A sessions, she engaged directly with users, listening empathetically and offering reassurance. This candid approach helped rebuild trust, even as the technical challenges persisted. The setback also spurred introspection and learning. Kate and her team revisited every stage of the development and testing process, identifying gaps and areas for improvement. They enhanced quality control protocols, increased environmental testing, and implemented more rigorous user feedback loops. The experience reinforced the importance of humility and adaptability in innovation. Throughout this turbulent period, Kate drew strength from her support network. Michael's unwavering encouragement and Jenna's steady professionalism provided anchors amid uncertainty. The community Kate had built rallied too, many users expressing understanding and patience, sharing their own stories of setbacks and recovery. This collective resilience became a vital source of hope. On a personal level, the stress exacerbated Kate's autoimmune symptoms, reminding her that vulnerability was part of the human experience, even for those leading transformative change. She learned to balance the demands of leadership with self-care, leaning more on her team and prioritizing her health. After months of intensive work, the technical fixes were implemented, tested, and validated. The firmware update rolled out smoothly, and hardware improvements entered production. Regulatory approvals resumed, and shipments recommenced with renewed confidence. The lessons learned from the setback strengthened the project's foundation, making it more robust and user-centered. Kate emerged from this crucible with a deeper appreciation for the complexities of innovation and the power of transparency and community. The unexpected setback was painful, but it also proved that setbacks, when met with honesty and determination, could become stepping stones to greater resilience and success. As she prepared to lead the project into its next phase, Kate carried with her the knowledge that every challenge, no matter how daunting, was an opportunity to learn, grow, and reaffirm the commitment to the people who depended on her vision. After the storm of technical glitches and regulatory delays, Kate Morgan and her team faced the daunting task of rebuilding trust with their community and regaining momentum for the Exosuit project. The setback had shaken confidence among users, investors, and partners alike, but Kate believed that transparency, dedication, and genuine connection could pave the way forward. Rebuilding was not just about fixing a device, it was about restoring hope. The first step was an honest reckoning. Kate and her leadership team held a series of internal reviews, openly discussing what went wrong, what could have been done differently, and how to prevent similar issues in the future. They documented every lesson learned, transforming failures into a roadmap for improvement. This process cultivated a culture of accountability and humility, strengthening the team's resolve. Externally, Kate launched a comprehensive communication campaign focused on transparency and engagement. She hosted regular live streams, inviting users, medical professionals, and investors to hear updates directly from the team. These sessions included demonstrations of the new firmware and hardware improvements, detailed explanations of testing protocols, and candid answers to tough questions. The openness fostered a renewed sense of partnership with the community. To show commitment beyond words, the team offered extended warranties and free device upgrades to affected users. Customer service was ramped up, with a dedicated support team available 24/7 to address concerns and provide guidance. This tangible support helped soothe frustrations and rebuild goodwill. Kate also prioritized expanding educational outreach. Collaborating with nutritionists, physical therapists, and chronic illness advocates, the project produced a series of webinars and digital workshops focused on muscle health, the role of essential vitamins, and how to maximize the benefits of the Exosuit. These programs empowered users with knowledge, deepening their connection to the mission. The community's response was heartening. Users shared stories of renewed trust and gratitude, many expressing appreciation for the team's honesty and dedication. The online forums buzzed with supportive messages, and new members joined, eager to participate in a movement defined by resilience and compassion. Meanwhile, investor confidence gradually returned. Transparent financial reporting and demonstrated improvements reassured stakeholders. New partnerships were forged with rehabilitation centers and athletic organizations interested in piloting the enhanced Exosuit. These collaborations opened doors to fresh funding and expanded market reach. Internally, the team's morale rebounded. The experience had bonded them more tightly, instilling a collective pride in overcoming adversity. Kate's leadership, rooted in empathy and authenticity, was credited with steering the project through turbulent waters. She invested in team well-being, organizing retreats and workshops to foster creativity, trust, and balance. On the technical front, progress accelerated. The updated Exosuit models featured improved battery life, enhanced comfort, and more intuitive controls. The adaptive AI algorithms continued to evolve, incorporating user feedback to fine-tune responses and optimize performance. Clinical data showed increased effectiveness and user satisfaction, reinforcing confidence in the technology's potential. Kate's personal journey mirrored the project's trajectory. As the Exosuit regained its footing, her autoimmune symptoms stabilized further. She found renewed energy to mentor new team members and advocate for innovation that centers human experience. Michael's support remained a constant source of strength. Reflecting on this chapter of rebuilding, Kate recognized that setbacks were inevitable but not insurmountable. What mattered was the courage to face failure openly, the commitment to listen and learn, and the willingness to act with integrity. Through this process, the project emerged stronger, more focused, and more deeply connected to the people it served. As the exosuit prepared to enter its next phase of growth, Kate felt a profound sense of purpose. Rebuilding trust was not merely a milestone, it was a foundation for sustainable success. With renewed momentum, the team was ready to continue their climb, inspired by the resilience that defines every great journey. With trust restored and momentum building once more, Kate Morgan stood poised to expand the vision of the exosuit project beyond its original scope. What began as a device designed to prevent leg cramps and muscle fatigue was evolving into a comprehensive platform for enhancing mobility and quality of life across diverse populations. The success of the adaptive AI and personalized vitamin monitoring had opened doors to new applications and partnerships that promised to reshape healthcare and wellness. Kate envisioned the exosuit as part of a larger ecosystem, a convergence of technology, nutrition, rehabilitation, and community support. This broader perspective required collaboration across disciplines, industries, and cultures. It was a complex and ambitious undertaking, but Kate embraced the challenge with characteristic determination and optimism. One of the first frontiers was aging populations. Kate recognized that as people lived longer, maintaining mobility and independence became a critical priority. Muscle cramps, weakness, and balance issues were common barriers to active aging, often leading to falls and reduced quality of life. The exosuit's ability to support muscle function and monitor nutritional status made it an ideal tool for this demographic. Partnering with geriatric specialists and senior care organizations, Kate's team developed customized programs integrating the exosuit with tailored exercise routines, dietary plans rich in the essential 7 vitamins, and cognitive engagement activities. Early pilot studies showed promising results. Seniors reported improved strength, reduced cramps, and greater confidence in daily activities. These successes sparked excitement among healthcare providers looking for innovative solutions to support aging in place. Simultaneously, Kate explored applications in neurological rehabilitation. Conditions such as multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, and stroke often impair muscle control and coordination, leading to cramps and mobility challenges. The exosuit's responsive support and real-time biofeedback had the potential to enhance therapy outcomes and empower patients. Collaborations with neurologists and physical therapists led to clinical trials testing the suit's effectiveness in conjunction with conventional treatments. Patients found that the device not only reduced discomfort but also encouraged active participation in rehabilitation exercises by providing immediate feedback and motivation. These findings positioned the exosuit as a valuable adjunct in complex care settings. Athletics remained a key focus. Building on earlier successes, Kate forged partnerships with collegiate and professional sports teams. Athletes prone to cramps and overuse injuries benefited from personalized vitamin optimization and muscle support during training and competition. The exosuit's data also offered coaches and trainers actionable insights to tailor programs and prevent injury. The integration of the exosuit with wearable fitness trackers and mobile apps created a seamless experience for users, blending performance enhancement with health monitoring. This holistic approach appealed to a generation increasingly invested in self-quantification and wellness optimization. Kate's vision extended beyond individuals to communities and global health. Recognizing disparities in healthcare access, she initiated programs to deploy affordable versions of the exosuit in underserved areas. Working with nonprofits and international health organizations, the project aimed to address mobility impairments linked to nutritional deficiencies and chronic conditions in low-resource settings. Educational initiatives accompanied these deployments, teaching communities about essential vitamins and lifestyle practices that support muscle health. By combining technology with culturally sensitive outreach, Kate hoped to make a meaningful impact on public health and empower individuals worldwide. Behind these expansions was a sophisticated infrastructure of research, development, and user engagement. Data collected from diverse populations fueled continuous improvement of the exosuit's algorithms and features. Artificial intelligence evolved to accommodate varying needs, from elite athletes to seniors and patients with chronic illnesses. Kate fostered a collaborative environment, encouraging interdisciplinary teams to innovate and challenge assumptions. The culture of empathy and inclusivity permeated every aspect of the project, ensuring that technological advances remained aligned with human values. On a personal level, Kate found fulfillment in mentoring young innovators drawn to the project's mission. She shared her experiences candidly, the triumphs and setbacks, the importance of perseverance and integrity. Her leadership style emphasized listening, adaptability, and compassion, inspiring others to approach innovation as a means to serve. As the exosuit's vision expanded, so did its impact. Stories poured in from users whose lives were transformed, not just physically but emotionally and socially. Individuals regained independence, pursued passions, and connected with supportive communities. These narratives reinforced the profound potential of integrating technology with holistic care. Kate often reflected on the journey that brought her here, from the early struggles with her own health to leading a groundbreaking project that touched thousands. The expanding vision was a testament to what could be achieved when science, empathy, and collaboration converged. Looking ahead, Kate saw endless possibilities. Advances in biotechnology, materials science, and data analytics promised to deepen the exosuit's capabilities. Emerging fields like neuroprosthetics and regenerative medicine beckoned new frontiers. Yet, no matter how sophisticated the technology became, Kate remained committed to keeping the human experience at the heart of every innovation. As the sun set on another day filled with progress and promise, Kate felt a profound sense of gratitude. Expanding the vision was more than scaling a project, it was about amplifying hope, dignity, and connection. And that, she knew, was the true measure of success. Despite the outward success and expanding vision of the exosuit project, Kate Morgan found herself standing at a deeply personal crossroad, where the demands of her leadership collided with the needs of her own life and health. The relentless pace, the emotional highs and lows, and the weight of responsibility were exacting a toll she could no longer ignore. This chapter of her journey was not about technology or innovation, but about choices that would shape her future and test her sense of self. Kate's autoimmune condition, while stabilized, still flared unpredictably, often after periods of intense stress. Over the months, she had become adept at masking fatigue and pain, pushing through long workdays and late-night strategy sessions. But increasingly, the signals from her body grew harder to dismiss. The relentless pressure to lead, innovate, and respond to challenges left her exhausted and vulnerable. The tension was not just physical. Kate felt torn between her commitment to the exosuit mission and her desire for personal fulfillment outside of work. Relationships with family and friends had become sporadic, often sacrificed on the altar of deadlines and crises. Michael, her partner, noticed the strain and urged her to slow down, reminding her that success meant little without well-being. One evening, after a particularly grueling day filled with back-to-back meetings and urgent problem-solving, Kate sat alone in her office, staring out at the city lights. The quiet hum of machines and distant sounds of traffic were a stark contrast to the storm inside her mind. She wondered, how long could she sustain this pace? Was she risking everything she had worked for by neglecting herself? That night, Kate reached out to Jenna, her trusted confidant and the team's operations lead. Their conversation was candid and raw. Jenna listened as Kate expressed doubts, fears, and the overwhelming sense of being stretched too thin. Jenna shared her own experiences with burnout and the importance of setting boundaries and asking for support. Encouraged by this exchange, Kate began to explore ways to rebalance her life. She started delegating more responsibilities, empowering team members to take ownership of projects and decisions. This shift was challenging. Letting go of control required trust and vulnerability, but it also opened space for collaboration and innovation. Kate also reintroduced daily practices that nurtured her well-being, mindfulness meditation, gentle yoga, and regular walks outdoors. These moments of calm helped ground her and restore energy. She rekindled connections with family, carving out time for meaningful conversations and shared experiences. Professionally, Kate embraced the idea that leadership was not about doing everything alone but about inspiring and enabling others. She invested in mentoring programs, encouraging young scientists and engineers to grow and take initiative. This distributed leadership model strengthened the team and created a culture of mutual support. Yet, the personal crossroads was more than managing stress and workload. Kate faced deeper questions about her purpose and legacy. What did success truly mean? Was it the accolades and innovations, or the lives touched and transformed? How could she align her ambitions with her values and health? During a retreat organized for the leadership team, Kate spent time reflecting in nature, away from screens and schedules. She journaled about her journey, the struggles, triumphs, and lessons learned. She acknowledged the sacrifices she had made and recognized the need for compassion toward herself. A turning point came when she attended a conference focused on chronic illness and leadership, where she connected with others balancing demanding careers and health challenges. Their stories resonated deeply, inspiring Kate to consider how her experience could inform not only the project's mission but also advocacy for wellness and inclusion in the workplace. Kate began envisioning initiatives to support employees and innovators facing health issues, promoting flexibility, understanding, and resources. She saw this as an extension of the project's human-centered ethos, a commitment to nurturing the people behind the technology. As Kate navigated this personal transformation, she shared her journey with the team, fostering openness and empathy. This authenticity strengthened bonds and encouraged others to bring their whole selves to work, creating a more resilient and compassionate culture. Through this process, Kate discovered that crossing personal crossroads was not a sign of weakness but a catalyst for growth and renewal. By honoring her needs and values, she found renewed clarity and purpose. The Exosuit project, she realized, was not just about changing lives externally but also about embracing transformation within. This chapter in Kate's life was a testament to the complexity of leadership and the courage required to face one's own vulnerabilities. It was a reminder that true strength lies in balance, self-awareness, and the willingness to evolve. As she emerged from this crossroads, Kate felt a deeper connection to herself, her mission, and the community she served. With this newfound perspective, she was ready to lead the project into its next phase with resilience, wisdom, and heart. The landscape of innovation is often shaped not only by individual brilliance but by the power of collaboration. For Kate Morgan and her team, the next pivotal moment arrived through an unexpected partnership that promised to accelerate the Exosuit project's impact far beyond what they had imagined. It was a breakthrough born from shared vision, mutual respect, and the recognition that solving complex problems required diverse expertise. The opportunity emerged when Kate was invited to speak at a global health technology summit in San Francisco. Among the audience was Dr. Aaron Phillips, a renowned neuroscientist specializing in neuroplasticity and motor rehabilitation. His pioneering work on brain-computer interfaces and adaptive neurotechnology had already transformed care for patients with movement disorders. Intrigued by the Exosuit's potential, Dr. Phillips reached out to Kate after her presentation. Their initial conversations were electric, two minds aligned on the promise of merging wearable robotics with advanced neurotechnology to create a new paradigm in mobility support and recovery. Dr. Phillips envisioned integrating brain signals directly with the Exosuit's adaptive AI, enabling real-time, intuitive control that would respond to the user's intentions even before muscle activation. This fusion of mind and machine could redefine how individuals with neurological impairments regained function. Kate saw the immense possibilities but also the complexities. This was uncharted territory requiring deep interdisciplinary collaboration, rigorous research, and ethical considerations. Yet, the synergy was undeniable, and she eagerly embraced the challenge. The teams from both sides began working closely, blending expertise in robotics, neuroscience, AI, and rehabilitation medicine. Weekly virtual meetings and intensive workshops fostered a culture of creativity and trust. The energy was palpable, each breakthrough fueling excitement for the next. One of the first milestones was developing a non-invasive brain-computer interface, BCI, system that could seamlessly communicate with the exosuit. This required refining sensor technology to accurately capture brainwave patterns related to movement intention while filtering out noise and distractions. The data algorithms had to be sophisticated enough to translate these signals into precise motor commands. Simultaneously, the exosuit's AI was reprogrammed to interpret and respond to the BCI inputs, adapting support levels in milliseconds. This allowed users to initiate movements with minimal effort, as the suit anticipated and augmented muscle activation. Early prototypes demonstrated smoother, more natural motion, reducing fatigue and enhancing confidence. Clinical trials were designed to evaluate safety, efficacy, and user experience. Participants included individuals recovering from strokes, spinal cord injuries, and neurodegenerative diseases. The results were inspiring. Patients reported increased mobility, improved balance, and a profound sense of agency. For many, the ability to move with their own intent, supported by cutting-edge technology, rekindled hope and independence. Ethical considerations were central to the collaboration. Both teams committed to safeguarding user privacy, informed consent, and accessibility. They engaged ethicists and patient advocates to guide development, ensuring that technology served humanity respectfully and inclusively. This breakthrough collaboration extended beyond technology. It sparked new conversations about the future of healthcare, the role of AI in augmenting human potential, and the importance of interdisciplinary approaches. Kate and Dr. Phillips co-authored papers, presented at conferences, and inspired a new generation of innovators. The partnership also attracted funding from philanthropic organizations and government grants dedicated to advancing neurotechnology and rehabilitation. This financial support accelerated research and facilitated the scaling of clinical programs. For Kate, the collaboration was a reaffirmation of the project's core mission, to enhance lives through innovation grounded in empathy and science. It challenged her to expand her leadership, navigating complex scientific landscapes and fostering connections across diverse fields. The journey was not without obstacles. Technical challenges, regulatory hurdles, and the need for continuous user feedback demanded resilience and adaptability. Yet, the shared vision and collective passion propelled the teams forward. As the integration of neurotechnology and the exosuit progressed, the implications extended beyond individual users. The combined system held potential for athletes seeking peak performance, workers aiming to reduce injury risk, and aging populations striving to maintain independence. It was a leap toward a future where technology amplifies human capability with dignity and precision. Reflecting on this chapter, Kate felt gratitude for the unexpected paths that collaboration can open. The breakthrough was more than a technical achievement, it was a testament to the power of connection, trust, and shared purpose. It underscored the belief that transformative innovation is rarely solitary, it thrives in community. As the teams prepared to launch the next phase of trials and public engagement, Kate's excitement was tempered with humility. The journey ahead remained complex, but the horizon was brighter than ever. Together, they were not just building devices, they were crafting new possibilities for mobility, health, and human experience. Just as momentum from the breakthrough collaboration surged, Kate Morgan and her team encountered an unforeseen series of setbacks that threatened to derail progress and test their resolve. The excitement surrounding the integration of neurotechnology with the exosuit was tempered by technical challenges, regulatory hurdles, and external pressures that forced a pause and deep reflection. The first sign came during a critical phase of clinical testing when several participants reported unexpected side effects, including mild headaches and dizziness linked to the brain-computer interface. While these symptoms were transient and non-severe, they raised red flags among regulatory bodies overseeing human trials. Safety reviews were intensified, and additional data had to be gathered to address concerns, delaying the timeline. Simultaneously, supply chain disruptions affected key components needed for the new exosuit prototypes. The delicate sensors and advanced materials required from specialized manufacturers experienced delays due to global logistics bottlenecks and geopolitical tensions. This scarcity forced the engineering team to seek alternative suppliers and re-engineer parts, adding complexity and time to the project. Financially, the ripple effects were immediate. Investors grew anxious as milestones shifted, questioning the pace of development amid mounting expenses. Kate found herself navigating difficult conversations, balancing transparency with reassurance. The pressure to demonstrate steady progress while managing uncertainty was immense. Internally, the team faced morale challenges. The initial euphoria gave way to frustration and fatigue. Long hours and relentless problem-solving sapped energy, and some members voiced doubts about feasibility and future viability. Kate recognized the importance of addressing this head-on, fostering open dialogue and reinforcing shared purpose. Amid these trials, a cyber attack targeted the project's data systems. Although no user data was compromised, the incident exposed vulnerabilities and heightened concerns about security and privacy, crucial factors given the sensitive nature of brain-computer interface data. Immediate steps were taken to strengthen cybersecurity protocols, and the event underscored the importance of safeguarding trust. Regulatory agencies issued additional requirements for extensive documentation and testing, prolonging the approval process. Navigating the complex landscape of international regulations became a full-time endeavor, requiring legal expertise and persistent advocacy. Kate worked closely with compliance teams, government officials, and ethics boards to meet standards without compromising innovation. Despite the mounting obstacles, Kate maintained a steadfast commitment to the project's mission. She encouraged her team to view setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth rather than defeat. Regular strategy sessions refocused efforts on problem-solving and risk mitigation, breaking challenges into manageable parts. To bolster resilience, Kate introduced wellness initiatives, mental health support, flexible schedules, and team-building activities to help members cope with stress. She also brought in external consultants to provide fresh perspectives and technical expertise, breaking internal echo chambers. Communication with the community of users and stakeholders was handled with transparency. Kate personally addressed concerns through webinars and newsletters, explaining the nature of setbacks and the steps being taken. This openness helped sustain engagement and trust. Parallel to managing challenges, the team intensified research on alternative technologies to address side effects and enhance comfort. Innovative materials, refined signal processing algorithms, and adaptive user interfaces were explored, leading to promising prototypes that suggested a way forward. Kate's leadership during this turbulent period revealed a deep well of resilience and empathy. She balanced pragmatic decision-making with emotional intelligence, inspiring her team to persevere and adapt. The setbacks, though painful, became a crucible forging stronger bonds and sharper focus. Reflecting on this chapter, Kate acknowledged that progress in cutting-edge fields is rarely linear. Innovation demands patience, persistence, and humility. Facing unexpected setbacks was not a failure but an integral part of the journey toward meaningful breakthroughs. As the project gradually overcame these obstacles, momentum returned, not as a blind rush but a deliberate, informed advance. The experience deepened Kate's conviction that technology must be developed responsibly, with care for users, teams, and the broader societal context. With lessons learned and renewed determination, the Exosuit project prepared to move forward into its next phase. The challenges had tested their limits, but also expanded their horizons, strengthening the foundation for sustainable success. After navigating the storm of setbacks, Kate Morgan and her team focused all their efforts on rekindling hope and momentum for the Exosuit project. The challenges had revealed vulnerabilities but also new insights, and now was the moment to turn lessons into progress. With renewed determination, the team embarked on refining their technology, deepening user engagement, and strengthening partnerships to bring their vision closer to reality. One of the first steps was to address the side effects experienced during clinical trials. Collaborating with neurologists and biomedical engineers, the team refined the brain-computer interface's signal processing algorithms to improve accuracy and reduce noise that contributed to discomfort. Materials specialists developed softer, lighter sensor pads, enhancing wearability and reducing skin irritation. These technical upgrades were tested rigorously, leading to a new generation of prototypes praised by users for comfort and responsiveness. Parallel to technological refinement, Kate prioritized rebuilding team morale. She fostered a culture of open communication, celebrating small victories and encouraging creativity. Weekly, innovation jams allowed engineers, scientists, and designers to brainstorm freely without pressure, reigniting passion and collaboration. The team's renewed energy translated into rapid progress on multiple fronts. Engagement with the user community became a cornerstone of this phase. Kate launched a digital platform where participants and early adopters could share experiences, provide feedback, and support one another. Stories of regained mobility, reduced cramps, and enhanced quality of life flooded in, fueling motivation and underscoring the project's human impact. Kate often joined online discussions personally, listening and responding with empathy. Strategic partnerships expanded as well. Kate negotiated collaborations with rehabilitation centers, universities, and nonprofit organizations, creating pilot programs that integrated the exosuit into therapeutic and wellness regimens. These alliances broadened the project's reach and facilitated data collection across diverse populations, strengthening evidence for regulatory approval and market adoption. Financially, positive momentum attracted new investors committed to the mission's long-term vision. Transparent reporting and demonstrated progress reassured stakeholders, enabling increased funding for research, development, and outreach. Kate's ability to communicate candidly about challenges and achievements proved essential in maintaining trust and support. Media interest resurged, with feature articles and interviews highlighting the exosuit's evolving capabilities and transformative potential. Kate's story, her leadership through adversity, commitment to human-centered innovation, resonated widely, inspiring audiences and drawing attention from broader sectors interested in health tech. Internally, Kate focused on sustainability, implementing practices to balance workload and well-being. Flexible schedules, mental health resources, and team retreats fostered resilience and creativity. She emphasized that lasting innovation required nurturing both the technology and the people behind it. Research efforts extended beyond hardware to explore integration with nutrition science, exercise physiology, and behavioral health. Multidisciplinary studies examined how tailored vitamin support, physical therapy, and psychological encouragement synergized with the exosuit's mechanical assistance. The holistic approach enhanced outcomes and deepened understanding of user needs. As the project entered this revitalized stage, Kate reflected on the journey's ebb and flow. The setbacks had been painful but necessary, revealing the importance of patience, adaptability, and unwavering focus on the mission's core values. Rekindling hope was not merely about technical fixes but about reigniting belief in the shared vision. Looking ahead, Kate envisioned scaling production, expanding accessibility, and continuing innovation to serve ever-widening communities. The exosuit was becoming more than a device, it was a movement toward empowered, inclusive mobility for all. With momentum restored, the team embraced the future with optimism and resolve. The path remained challenging, but their combined strength and shared purpose promised to carry them forward. Kate knew that rekindling hope was the spark that would illuminate the way toward lasting change. The day of the exosuit's public launch arrived with a mixture of excitement, nerves, and quiet pride for Kate Morgan and her team. After years of relentless work, setbacks, breakthroughs, and personal growth, the moment to unveil their innovation to the world felt both monumental and deeply personal. The launch event was not just a demonstration of cutting-edge technology, it was a celebration of resilience, collaboration, and hope for millions of people whose lives could be transformed. The venue was a sleek convention center in downtown Seattle, chosen for its tech-friendly atmosphere and accessibility. Invitations had been sent to industry leaders, healthcare professionals, potential investors, media, patient advocates, and users who had participated in the trials. The buzz around the event had grown steadily, fueled by teasers on social media and compelling stories shared through the project's digital platform. Kate arrived early, her heart steady despite the whirlwind of activity. She greeted team members, checked the final equipment, and reviewed her presentation one last time. Behind the scenes, engineers and therapists prepared live demos, ensuring everything was flawless. Every detail mattered. This was the culmination of a dream and the beginning of a new chapter. The event opened with an introduction from a well-known tech journalist who framed the exosuit as a game-changing breakthrough in assistive technology. Then Kate took the stage. She began by sharing the project's origin story, her personal motivations, the team's journey, and the vision that had sustained them. Her voice carried a mix of passion and humility, drawing the audience into the narrative. To engage the crowd, Kate posed a question: what if you could reclaim control over your body, move freely without pain or fear, and rediscover independence? This is not just technology, it's a new way to live. She invited the audience to imagine a world where mobility challenges were no longer barriers but opportunities for growth and connection. Following her introduction, the team showcased live demonstrations. Participants from diverse backgrounds, stroke survivors, aging adults, athletes recovering from injury, stepped onto the stage wearing the latest exosuit prototype. As they moved, the crowd witnessed fluid, natural motion supported by the suit's adaptive AI and neurotechnology. Some participants shared their stories, describing how the exosuit had changed their daily lives, alleviated cramps, and restored confidence. The energy in the room was electric. Questions flowed during a panel discussion featuring Kate, Dr. Aaron Phillips, user representatives, and clinical experts. Topics ranged from the science behind the technology to ethical considerations and future applications. The audience's enthusiasm reflected a collective belief in the project's transformative potential. Media coverage was extensive, with live streams, interviews, and social media posts amplifying the event's impact globally. Kate skillfully balanced technical explanations with heartfelt testimonials, connecting with both experts and laypeople. The launch was framed not just as a product debut but as a movement toward inclusive innovation and human empowerment. Post-event, Kate and the team engaged with attendees, fostering relationships and exploring partnerships. Feedback was overwhelmingly positive, fueling plans for wider distribution and continued research. The launch marked a pivotal milestone, a transition from prototype to real-world impact. Behind the scenes, Kate reflected on the emotional weight of the day. The journey had been arduous, marked by doubt and perseverance. Yet standing there, witnessing the convergence of technology and humanity, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment and responsibility. The event also highlighted the importance of storytelling and innovation, how sharing personal experiences, challenges, and triumphs creates connection and inspires action. Kate vowed to keep the human narrative at the center of the project as it scaled. As the lights dimmed and the crowd dispersed, Kate knew this was just the beginning. The exosuit's launch opened doors to new opportunities, challenges, and horizons. But with the team's dedication, user support, and shared vision, the path forward was bright. This chapter in the story was a testament to the power of dreams realized through courage, collaboration, and unwavering hope. For Kate Morgan and the countless lives touched by the exosuit, the future held promise, possibility, and the enduring belief that technology, when guided by empathy, could change the world. Following the successful launch, Kate Morgan and her team faced the complex realities of scaling their innovation from a promising prototype to a widely accessible product. The excitement of public acclaim was quickly tempered by the practical challenges of manufacturing, distribution, customer support, and ongoing development. This phase, often overlooked in stories of breakthrough technology, proved to be a test of resilience, adaptability, and leadership on a whole new level. The first hurdle was production capacity. Demand surged as rehabilitation centers, hospitals, and consumers placed orders for the exosuit. However, manufacturing the advanced components, especially the brain-computer interface sensors and the lightweight, flexible materials, required specialized facilities and precise quality control. Kate worked closely with manufacturing partners to expand capacity without sacrificing standards, navigating supply chain fluctuations and ensuring ethical sourcing of materials. Simultaneously, the team established customer support infrastructure. Providing personalized assistance was essential, as users adapting to the exosuit often needed guidance on fitting, operation, and integration with therapy. Training programs for therapists and technicians were developed to support end users effectively, fostering a community of skilled practitioners. Expansion into new markets brought regulatory challenges. Each country had its own approval processes, safety requirements, and legal frameworks governing medical devices and neurotechnology. Kate assembled a dedicated regulatory affairs team to coordinate international submissions, advocating for streamlined pathways without compromising user safety. The process was time-consuming and demanding but necessary to ensure global reach. Operational scaling also revealed the importance of maintaining the project's core values. Kate emphasized the need to preserve user-centered design, ethical data handling, and transparency amid rapid growth. She instituted regular reviews and stakeholder engagement forums to keep the team aligned with their mission and responsive to evolving user needs. The growing pains extended to the team itself. Rapid hiring introduced new talent and diverse perspectives but also required culture building to maintain cohesion and shared purpose. Kate invested in leadership development, mentorship, and internal communication strategies to integrate newcomers and support professional growth. Financial management became increasingly complex. Budgeting for production, research, marketing, and customer service demanded meticulous planning. Kate balanced investor expectations for returns with the need for continued innovation and accessibility. Strategic partnerships with philanthropic organizations helped subsidize costs for underserved populations, reinforcing the project's commitment to equity. The pressure of expansion tested Kate's leadership in new ways. She faced moments of doubt and fatigue but leaned on her team, mentors, and personal resilience practices to navigate challenges. Regular reflection helped her stay grounded in the mission, reminding her that growth was not just about numbers but impact. Throughout this period, feedback from users remained a guiding force. Real-world use cases highlighted areas for improvement and inspired new features, such as customizable support modes, mobile app integration, and enhanced battery life. The team embraced an iterative approach, continuously refining the exosuit to better serve diverse needs. Public perception evolved as well. Media stories shifted from breakthrough excitement to questions about accessibility, affordability, and long-term sustainability. Kate and her team responded proactively, engaging in dialogue about ethical innovation, policy advocacy, and the social implications of assistive technology. The expansion phase also underscored the importance of partnerships beyond technology. Collaborations with advocacy groups, healthcare providers, and academic institutions enriched the project's ecosystem, fostering a multidisciplinary approach to mobility solutions. As the exosuit reached new users worldwide, Kate witnessed firsthand the profound difference it made in daily lives, from restoring independence to rekindling joy in movement. These stories fueled ongoing commitment and innovation, driving the project forward amid complexity. Reflecting on this chapter, Kate understood that scaling innovation demanded not only technical skill but empathy, strategic vision, and the ability to balance competing priorities. The growing pains were challenging but integral to transforming a dream into a sustainable reality. With experience gained and structures in place, Kate and her team prepared to embrace future opportunities and obstacles. Expansion was not an endpoint but a dynamic journey, requiring continuous learning and adaptation. The path ahead promised new horizons for technology, humanity, and the power of hope. As the exosuit project surged forward into new territories and wider adoption, Kate Morgan found herself grappling with the often unseen personal sacrifices that come with leadership in groundbreaking innovation. The lines between work and life blurred, and the relentless pace of scaling a revolutionary technology began to weigh heavily on her relationships, health, and sense of self. This chapter reveals the emotional and psychological toll behind the scenes and how Kate navigated the balance between ambition and well-being. The demands of leading a rapidly growing venture meant long hours, back-to-back meetings, and constant decision-making. Kate's days started before sunrise and frequently stretched late into the night, fueled by coffee and the drive to fulfill the mission. The intensity, while exhilarating, left little room for rest or reflection. Over time, fatigue crept in, manifesting as irritability, difficulty focusing, and moments of doubt. She recognized these as warning signs but struggled to slow down in an environment that required relentless momentum. At home, Kate's relationships showed strain. Phone calls with family and friends became infrequent and rushed. Missed birthdays and social events added up. Her partner, Jason, voiced concerns about their diminishing time together, creating tension that Kate found hard to reconcile with her professional commitments. Despite loving support, Kate felt a growing sense of isolation as her world became consumed by the exosuit's progress. Yet amid these pressures, Kate experienced significant personal growth. She began to understand the importance of vulnerability and asking for help, qualities she had previously viewed as weaknesses. Conversations with mentors and peers revealed that many leaders faced similar challenges, normalizing her experience and providing strategies for coping. One pivotal moment came during a wellness retreat organized by the company to address burnout. Kate initially hesitated to attend, fearing lost productivity, but found the experience transformative. Through mindfulness exercises, group discussions, and solo reflection, she reconnected with her values beyond the project, her love of nature, creativity, and connection. The retreat offered a space to process stress and cultivate resilience. Incorporating new habits, Kate set boundaries around work hours, prioritized exercise and sleep, and committed to regular check-ins with Jason and close friends. She learned to delegate more effectively, trusting her capable team while freeing mental space to focus on vision and strategy. This shift did not diminish her dedication but enhanced sustainability. Professionally, these personal insights translated into empathetic leadership. Kate modeled work-life balance, encouraged open conversations about mental health, and implemented policies supporting flexible schedules and wellness resources. The company culture evolved to embrace humanity alongside innovation, fostering a supportive environment. Kate's journey also deepened her understanding of sacrifice's meaning. Achieving groundbreaking change demanded dedication and sometimes tough choices, but it need not come at the cost of well-being or relationships. Finding equilibrium was itself an evolving process, a continuous negotiation between ambition and self-care. The personal growth Kate experienced enriched her capacity to lead with compassion and authenticity. She recognized that resilience was not about enduring alone but about building connections and nurturing oneself as part of the journey. These lessons became integral to the project's ethos, reflected in how the team worked and how the technology served users. As the exosuit reached more people and expanded its impact, Kate's story underscored a universal truth: behind every innovation lies human complexity. Success is as much about inner strength and balance as it is about external achievement. In reflecting on this chapter of her life, Kate felt gratitude for the challenges and support that shaped her. The sacrifices were real, but so was the growth, offering a richer, more sustainable foundation for leading change. With renewed clarity and balance, she looked forward to the future, ready to face new challenges with wisdom, heart, and hope. After years of perseverance, challenges, and incremental progress, Kate Morgan and her team experienced a pivotal turning point that propelled the exosuit project into a major breakthrough. This moment, forged through relentless dedication and insightful innovation, redefined what was possible and brought new energy to their mission of transforming mobility and quality of life for countless individuals. The breakthrough emerged from a cross-disciplinary collaboration between neuroengineers, materials scientists, and data analysts who had been exploring advanced machine learning algorithms to optimize the exosuit's responsiveness. The idea was to create an adaptive system that could learn from each user's unique movement patterns, muscle activity, and neural signals in real time, fine-tuning assistance to prevent cramps and enhance strength dynamically. Early trials of the adaptive AI showed promising results but also revealed complexities. Data variability, latency issues, and unexpected interactions between hardware and software components. Kate's team tackled these challenges through iterative testing, employing feedback loops with users and integrating insights from biomechanics research. Months of late nights and countless simulations led to a refined algorithm capable of predictive adjustments that felt intuitive and natural to wearers. Simultaneously, breakthroughs in flexible sensor technology enabled seamless integration of ultra-thin, stretchable electrodes that maintained high-fidelity signal acquisition even during vigorous movement. This advancement reduced discomfort and improved the system's accuracy, addressing prior user concerns and regulatory requirements. The combined technological leap was demonstrated in a landmark clinical study involving a diverse group of participants: stroke survivors, athletes recovering from injuries, and elderly adults experiencing leg cramps and weakness. Results showed significant improvements in mobility, muscle endurance, and user satisfaction compared to previous versions. Importantly, incidence of cramps and discomfort dropped dramatically, validating the approach. The study's findings attracted widespread attention from the medical community, industry partners, and policymakers. Kate presented the breakthrough at international conferences, emphasizing the collaborative effort and human-centered design philosophy that underpin success. Her speeches highlighted not only technical achievements but also the lived experiences of users, grounding innovation in empathy. This turning point also revitalized internal momentum. The team, buoyed by evidence of tangible impact, renewed their commitment with enthusiasm and creativity. New projects sprang up, exploring applications beyond rehabilitation, including sports performance enhancement, occupational support, and even space exploration partnerships. Financially, the breakthrough attracted fresh investment and opened doors for strategic alliances with healthcare providers, insurers, and governmental agencies. The exosuit was no longer just a novel concept but a validated tool with growing infrastructure to support widespread adoption. Kate reflected on the significance of this moment in the context of the journey. The breakthrough was not a sudden lightning strike but the culmination of years of incremental progress, learning from failures, and steadfast belief in the mission. It underscored the value of perseverance, collaboration, and the integration of diverse expertise. The breakthrough also brought new questions and responsibilities. Scaling the technology responsibly, ensuring equitable access, and addressing ethical considerations around neurotechnology remained critical. Kate and her team engaged with ethicists, advocacy groups, and communities to shape policies and practices that balanced innovation with respect and inclusion. On a personal level, the breakthrough reaffirmed Kate's leadership philosophy: technology's true power lies in its ability to serve humanity, empower individuals, and inspire hope. The project's success was a testament to the human spirit's capacity to overcome adversity and create meaningful change. As this chapter closed, the exosuit stood poised on the brink of broader impact and recognition. The turning point marked a new phase, one defined by confidence, expanded horizons, and deeper commitment to the project's transformative potential. Kate knew the road ahead would still hold challenges, but the breakthrough had lit a path forward with clarity and promise. The journey was far from over, but the foundation was stronger than ever, built on resilience, innovation, and an unwavering belief in the future of mobility. The journey that began with a vision to empower those struggling with mobility challenges had reached a profound moment of resolution and reflection for Kate Morgan and her team. Standing at the crossroads of achievement and ongoing aspiration, Kate embraced the lessons learned, the growth experienced, and the lives transformed by the exosuit. This final chapter of the story is not an end but a meaningful pause to appreciate the path traveled and the enduring impact of their work. Kate's thoughts often return to the early days, the spark of an idea, the long nights of experimentation, the moments of doubt and triumph. Each setback, from clinical trial failures to production bottlenecks, had shaped not only the technology but the team's character. The personal sacrifices and growth she endured underscored a universal truth: true innovation demands resilience, empathy, and unwavering dedication. Reflecting on the people behind the project, the scientists, engineers, therapists, users, investors, and advocates, Kate recognized that the exosuit was a collective achievement. It was a mosaic of human effort and spirit, with each contribution vital to the whole. The diverse perspectives and shared purpose forged a community united by the belief that technology could enhance dignity and quality of life. The stories of users remained central to Kate's reflections. Hearing from individuals who regained independence, rediscovered joy in movement, and experienced relief from debilitating cramps brought deep fulfillment. These narratives were reminders that technology's ultimate measure was its ability to touch lives meaningfully and compassionately. Kate also contemplated the broader implications of their work. The exosuit had sparked conversations about accessibility, equity, and the ethical use of neurotechnology. It had inspired other innovators to prioritize human-centered design and fostered collaborations across disciplines. The project's ripple effects extended beyond mobility, influencing how society viewed disability, technology, and possibility. With the exosuit entering wider markets and continuing development, Kate focused on sustainability. Ensuring ongoing support for users, affordable access, and continuous innovation became priorities. She championed policies that promoted inclusivity and ethical standards, believing that responsibility was integral to success. On a personal level, Kate found balance and fulfillment in the integration of her professional mission and personal life. The sacrifices once felt burdensome had evolved into sources of strength and insight. She maintained close connections with loved ones, nurtured her well-being, and inspired others through her story of perseverance and hope. The final reflection was philosophical: life's journey is marked by challenges and surprises, but love, connection, and purpose illuminate the way forward. Kate believed that technology, guided by these principles, could be a powerful force for good, a testament to human creativity and compassion. As the chapter closed, Kate looked toward the future with optimism and humility. The exosuit was more than a device, it was a symbol of possibility, a bridge between limitation and liberation. Its story was a reminder that every step forward, no matter how small, contributed to a larger movement toward dignity, empowerment, and hope. Kate's story, intertwined with the exosuit's evolution, was a beacon for dreamers, doers, and believers. It was an invitation to embrace challenges, nurture resilience, and pursue innovation with heart. The journey continued, propelled by the enduring belief that life's greatest breakthroughs come when technology and humanity walk hand in hand. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?